"Hand over your pension or I'll throw you on the streets." That's not what my son Malik said to me. What he actually did was worse. He pushed me down the stairs and broke my wrist because I told him I didn't have any more money to give him. I'm Cynthia Hawthorne, 70 years old, and I have early-stage Alzheimer's disease. 10 months ago, my son moved back into my house, claiming he needed help. What he really needed was money for meth. And what I didn't know was that my confusion and memory loss made me the perfect victim. While I forgot where I put my keys, Malik remembered exactly where I kept my debit card. While I struggled to recall what day it was, he calculated how much he could steal before I noticed. While Alzheimer's stole my memory, my own son stole everything my husband Eugene and I had built in 51 years of marriage. And when I finally said no, when I finally tried to protect what little I had left, he pushed me down 3 stairs and watched me hit the floor with a broken wrist. That was October 2024. The moment I realized my son would rather see me hurt than see himself without drug money. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to when this nightmare started, when I still believed my baby boy just needed a little help. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. Because this story is about what happens when the person who should protect you becomes the person you need protection from. When your illness makes you vulnerable, and your own child sees that vulnerability as opportunity. This is about a mother with Alzheimer's who couldn't remember yesterday but will never forget the day her son chose drugs over her life. My name is Cynthia Hawthorne, and I live in Auburn Gresham on the south side of Chicago. I taught 2nd grade at Wendell Phillips Academy Elementary for 33 years, retired in 2011. Married my husband Eugene when we were both 18 years old, straight out of high school, back in 1970. Eugene worked for Chicago Public Works for 38 years. Good union job, steady man. We bought this house in 1987 when Malik was 5 years old. 3 bedrooms, small backyard, front porch where Eugene used to sit every evening after work. We paid it off in 2009. Biggest accomplishment of our lives besides raising our son. Eugene died 3 years ago. June 2021. Massive heart attack. He was 72 years old. Went to work on a Tuesday morning, came home feeling tired, sat down in his chair, and just went. Gone before the ambulance got there. The grief almost killed me. 51 years of marriage, more than half my life with that man. The house felt too big, too quiet, too full of him. His coffee cup still in the cabinet, his work boots still by the back door. The chair where he died, empty now except for his ghost. But I had my granddaughter Jasmine to think about. She'd been living with me since 2020, 8 years old now. Her mother, Malik's ex-girlfriend Keisha, abandoned her when she was 4. Just left one day and never came back. Malik couldn't take care of her, wasn't stable enough, wasn't present enough. So Jasmine became mine to raise. That child saved my life after Eugene died, gave me purpose, gave me reason to get up every morning. Someone who needed me. Someone who called me grandma and mama both, depending on her mood. Then came May 2023. 2 years after Eugene died, I went to see Dr. Patricia Chen because I'd been forgetting things. Not just where I put my keys. Bigger things. Conversations I'd had the day before. Appointments I'd made. Sometimes I'd ask Jasmine the same question 3 times in an hour. Dr. Chen did tests, brain scans, memory assessments, questions I couldn't answer. Then she sat me down in her office and said the words that changed everything. "Mrs. Hawthorne, you have early-stage Alzheimer's disease." I knew what that meant. I'd seen it in other people. The forgetting, the confusion, the slow disappearance of yourself. But Dr. Chen said we'd caught it early. That medications might slow it down. That I could still function, still live independently, still take care of Jasmine. For a while that was true. I managed. I wrote everything down in a notebook. Set alarms on my phone. ask Jasmine to remind me about things. Some days were better than others. Some days I was fine. Some days I couldn't remember if I'd eaten breakfast. But I was managing. I was still me. Still Cynthia. Still Grandma. Still the woman who'd taught hundreds of children to read over 33 years. Then January 2024 came, 8 months after my diagnosis. That's when Malik showed up at my door with a suitcase and desperation in his eyes. "Ma, I need help. Can I stay here for a while? Just until I get back on my feet." My son was 42 years old, looked older. Thin in a way that wasn't healthy, eyes that couldn't quite meet mine. He'd been struggling for years. I knew that. Ever since his father died, maybe even before, couldn't keep a job, couldn't keep an apartment. Always had some story about why things weren't working out. But he was my son, my baby, the child I'd rocked to sleep, the boy Eugene had taught to ride a bike. How could I say no? "Of course you can stay," I told him. "You can have your old room." That was my first mistake. Or maybe my only mistake. Because everything that came after, all the horror that followed, started with that one moment of maternal love. Malik moved into his childhood bedroom, the room where I used to read him bedtime stories, where Eugene used to check under the bed for monsters, where we'd celebrated birthdays and helped with homework and dreamed about his future. I thought I was helping my son. I thought a mother's love could fix whatever was broken in him. I didn't know I'd just invited a monster into my home. A monster who looked like my baby but had been hollowed out by crystal meth. A monster who would spend the next 10 months systematically destroying everything Eugene and I had built, everything we'd saved, everything we'd sacrificed for. And my Alzheimer's, my failing memory, my confusion about dates and times and money made me the perfect victim. Because even when I noticed things were wrong, even when I knew money was missing, I couldn't quite remember, couldn't quite trust my own mind. Was I forgetting where I put the cash? Or had Malik taken it? Had I already paid that bill? Or had Malik stolen the money? Did I give him permission to use my debit card? Or did I just forget saying no? The disease made me doubt myself, and my son used that doubt like a weapon. Malik wasn't always like this. I need you to understand that. The man who pushed me down the stairs in October 2024 wasn't the boy I raised. That boy was sweet, gentle, loved to draw pictures and bring me flowers from the neighbor's garden. That boy cried when his goldfish died and wanted to be a firefighter like the men who visited his elementary school. That boy disappeared somewhere along the way, and I've spent years trying to figure out when. When did I lose my son? Maybe it started when he was 37. That's when Keisha left him. Took nothing, just walked out one morning and never came back. Left their daughter Jasmine behind like she was returning a library book. Malik fell apart, started missing work, started isolating himself. I thought it was depression, grief over losing Keisha. I didn't know he'd started using meth. Or maybe it started even earlier. Maybe the seeds were always there, and I just didn't want to see them. The way he'd borrow money and forget to pay it back. The way jobs never quite worked out. The way he always had an excuse, always had someone else to blame. But Eugene's death in 2021, that's when everything accelerated. Malik had worshipped his father. Eugene was the strong one, the one who'd pull Malik aside and tell him hard truths. The one who wouldn't accept excuses. When Eugene died, Malik lost his anchor, and I was too deep in my own grief to notice my son was drowning. By the time Malik moved in with me in January 2024, he'd been using crystal meth for almost 5 years. I didn't know that then, didn't recognize the signs. The weight loss I attributed to stress. The restlessness I thought was anxiety. The way he'd disappear for days and come back looking hollow. I convinced myself he was just struggling with life. Alzheimer's made it easier to lie to myself, easier to forget the concerning things, easier to believe his excuses. The first week Malik was back home, he was almost like his old self, helpful, present. He'd make breakfast for Jasmine before school. He'd ask about my doctor appointments. He'd sit with me on the porch in the evenings, talking about memories of Eugene. "Ma, remember when Dad tried to fix the roof and fell through?" Malik would laugh. "And we thought he was dead, but he just landed on the bed?" I'd laugh too. Grateful to have my son back. Grateful for the company. The house had been so quiet with just me and Jasmine. But then the requests started. "Ma, can I borrow $20, just until my disability check comes through?" I'd give it to him. Why wouldn't I? He was my son. "Ma, I need $50 for a job application fee. This company requires it up front." I'd give it to him, wanting to support him getting back on his feet. "Ma, can I use your debit card? Just to buy groceries for the house." I'd hand it over, trusting him. The amounts got bigger. The excuses got thinner. But my Alzheimer's made it hard to keep track. Had I already given him money this week? I couldn't remember. Did he pay me back last time? I wasn't sure. I started writing things down in a notebook, dates, amounts, but then I'd forget to check the notebook, or I'd lose the notebook. Or I'd write something down and later couldn't read my own handwriting. By February, Malik's behavior changed. The helpfulness disappeared. He'd sleep all day and be awake all night. I'd hear him pacing his room at 3 a.m., talking to himself, or on the phone with people whose voices sounded angry. He stopped making breakfast for Jasmine, stopped sitting with me in the evenings. When I'd ask for the debit card back, he'd get irritated. "Ma, I need it for errands. I'll give it back later." Later never came. When I'd ask about the money I'd lent him, he'd snap. "I told you. I paid you back last week. You don't remember because of your Alzheimer's." That became his favorite weapon. "Your Alzheimer's. You don't remember. You're confused. You're getting worse." He'd use my disease against me, make me doubt my own mind, gaslight me into thinking I was the problem. The first time Malik pushed me was March 2024, 2 months after he'd moved in. I'd gone to the ATM to withdraw money for Jasmine's school supplies. The machine said insufficient funds. I checked my balance, $347. I should have had over $6,000. I'd checked it just the week before. When I got home, Malik was in the kitchen. I confronted him. "Malik, my bank account. There's money missing. A lot of money." He barely looked up from his phone. "You probably transferred it somewhere and forgot, Ma. You do that now." I didn't transfer anything. "Malik, did you take money from my account?" That's when his face changed. The son I knew disappeared. Someone else looked at me through his eyes. Someone cold. Someone angry. "Don't accuse me of stealing from you. I'm here helping you, and this is how you treat me?" I wasn't accusing. I was asking. "Because the money is gone and you have my debit card." He stood up fast, walked toward me. I stepped back instinctively. He grabbed my shoulders. Not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough to scare me. "Listen to me. You're sick. You're forgetting things. You're imagining things. I haven't taken anything from you. You need to stop making accusations you can't prove." Then he pushed me, not down the stairs. Not yet. Just pushed me backward. I stumbled, caught myself on the counter. My hip hit the edge. It would bruise. Malik walked out of the kitchen, left me standing there shaking, questioning myself. Had I transferred that money and forgotten? Was I imagining the theft? Was my mind really that unreliable? I looked at the bruise on my hip that evening, physical proof that something had happened. But Malik's words echoed in my head. "You're sick. You're imagining things." I didn't tell anyone about the push. Didn't tell my neighbor Gloria. Didn't tell my doctor. Didn't even tell Jasmine, though I think she heard us arguing. I told myself it was an accident, that Malik was frustrated, that I'd upset him by accusing him unfairly, that I needed to be more understanding of his situation. All the things abused people tell themselves. All the excuses we make for the people we love. March turned into April, April into May. The money kept disappearing. I'd find cash missing from my purse, checks I didn't remember writing, my debit card used at ATMs across the city at times I knew I'd been home. But every time I questioned it, Malik would use my Alzheimer's against me. You forgot. You're confused. You're getting worse. Maybe we need to put you in a home where people can watch you. That threat terrified me more than the missing money. A home. Away from Jasmine. Away from everything Eugene and I had built. So I stayed quiet. And Malik got bolder. By May 2024, I'd lost $15,000. I knew because I finally got a bank statement I could actually read and understand. $15,000 in 3 months. ATM withdrawals. Forged checks. Debit card charges at places I'd never been. When I confronted Malik this time, he didn't just push me, he slapped me across the face. The shock was worse than the pain. My own son, my baby, had just hit me. We were in the living room. Jasmine was at school. Thank God Jasmine was at school. I'd shown Malik the bank statement, asked him to explain the charges, and he'd exploded. You're really going to do this again? Accuse me again? After everything I do for you? Everything you do for me? Malik, you don't do anything for me. You live here rent-free. You eat my food. You take my money. That's when his hand came across my face. Hard enough to snap my head to the side. Hard enough to make my ear ring. Don't you ever talk to me like that. I'm your son. I deserve respect. I put my hand to my cheek. It was hot, already swelling. Tears came, but I wouldn't let them fall. Not in front of him. Get out, I said quietly. Get out of my house. Malik laughed. A sound I'd never heard from him before. Cold, mean. This is my house too, Ma. Where am I supposed to go? You gonna throw your own son on the street? Yes. If you're going to steal from me and hit me, then yes. He came close to me. So close I could smell the chemical smell on him. That sweet, acrid smell I didn't yet recognize as meth. You won't do that. Because if you try to make me leave, I'll tell everyone you're losing your mind. I'll tell your doctor. I'll tell social services. I'll tell them you're not fit to take care of Jasmine, and they'll take her away from you. The threat hit harder than his hand had. Jasmine. He'd use Jasmine against me. You wouldn't, I whispered. Try me. He walked out, left me standing there with a handprint forming on my face. When Jasmine came home from school that afternoon, I told her I'd walked into a cabinet door. She looked at me with those 8-year-old eyes that saw too much, said nothing, but she knew. Children always know. That night I lay in bed thinking about Eugene. Wishing he was here. Eugene would have thrown Malik out. Eugene wouldn't have let any of this happen. Eugene would have protected me. But Eugene was gone, and I was alone with my failing memory and my drug-addicted son and my granddaughter who needed me to be strong. I didn't know how to be strong anymore. The stealing got worse after that. Malik knew I was afraid of him now, knew I wouldn't fight back, wouldn't call the police, wouldn't risk losing Jasmine. In June, I noticed Eugene's tools were gone from the garage, the entire set. Tools Eugene had collected over 40 years, his pride and joy, worth maybe $1,200. I asked Malik where they were. He shrugged. Probably threw them out when we cleaned the garage last month. You don't remember? We never cleaned the garage. But I couldn't prove it. My notebook where I wrote things down had disappeared too. In July, my jewelry box was emptied. My wedding ring from Eugene, his watch, my mother's pearls, family heirlooms, gone. Malik said I must have moved them somewhere safe and forgotten where. I started hiding things. Cash in books. Important papers in the freezer. But then I'd forget where I'd hidden them. My disease was betraying me, making it impossible to protect myself. The physical abuse escalated. Another push in July, this time against the wall. My shoulder hit hard. The pain lasted for days. In August, he shoved me into the doorframe, split my lip. I told my neighbor Gloria I'd tripped. But the worst thing, the thing that still haunts me, was what happened with my medications. I take medication for my Alzheimer's, expensive pills that cost $180 a month even with insurance. They slow the progression. They help me remember. They're keeping me functional enough to take care of Jasmine. In late August, I went to pick up my prescription refill. The pharmacy said it had already been picked up 3 days earlier, by my son. But I never got those pills. Malik brought home 7 bottles of medication that day, everything else I needed. Blood pressure pills, vitamins, cholesterol medication, but not the Alzheimer's medication. Ma, they were out of that one. Said it would be ready in a few days. I called the pharmacy. They said all my prescriptions had been picked up together, including the Alzheimer's medication. Malik had kept it, or sold it. I don't know which. All I know is I went 3 weeks without that medication. 3 weeks where my memory got noticeably worse. 3 weeks where I struggled more with basic tasks. 3 weeks where Jasmine had to remind me about everything. When I confronted Malik about it, he got in my face. You calling me a liar? You think I stole your pills? The pharmacy said you picked them up. The pharmacy is wrong. Your brain is wrong. Everything about you is wrong, old woman. Old woman. Not ma, not mom. Old woman. That's when I knew my son was truly gone. Whatever drugs had taken him, there was no bringing him back. By September, Eugene's coin collection had disappeared. He'd spent 40 years collecting rare coins, quarters, silver dollars, pennies from before I was born, worth at least $3,000 according to the last time he'd had them appraised. Malik claimed he didn't know what happened to them. Maybe they got thrown out by accident. Maybe I'd sold them and forgotten. I hadn't sold anything, but proving it was impossible. My Alzheimer's made me an unreliable witness to my own life. The TV disappeared. The good china Eugene's mother had left us. Small things kept vanishing, and every time I noticed, Malik would gaslight me. You donated that to Goodwill, remember? No, Ma, we never had that. Your memory is playing tricks. I felt myself disappearing along with my possessions. Like Malik was erasing not just my belongings but my reality, making me question everything, making me doubt my own mind. And the worst part? Sometimes he was right. Sometimes I had forgotten things. Sometimes I was confused. So how could I tell the difference between my disease and his lies? September turned into October, and October brought the day everything changed. The day Malik went too far. The day my body bore proof his words couldn't erase. The day he pushed me down the stairs and broke my wrist. October 18th, 2024. That's the day I'll never forget no matter how bad my Alzheimer's gets. That's the day my son broke my wrist and I finally understood he might actually kill me. But first, let me tell you about the people Malik brought into my house. The dealers, the users, the dangerous men who scared me more than my own son did. It started in late August. I'd wake up at 2 a.m. and hear voices downstairs. Men I didn't know sitting in my living room, in Eugene's chair. On the couch, Eugene and I had bought together. Malik would tell me to go back to bed, mind my business. This didn't concern me. But it was my house, my home, and these men looked at me with eyes that saw nothing. Empty eyes, predator eyes. The worst one was Dion. That's all I ever knew him as. Dion, late 20s maybe, gold teeth, tattoos covering his neck. He'd show up at all hours. Sometimes Malik would be home. Sometimes he wouldn't. One time in September, Dion showed up when I was alone with Jasmine. I answered the door. He pushed past me. Malik here? No, he's not home. Dion walked through my house like he owned it. Looked in rooms. Checked the kitchen. You his mama? Yes. He looked at me the way you'd look at an insect. Something small. Something you could crush. Tell him he owes me $4,000. Tell him if I don't get it by Friday, I'm taking something valuable. Maybe that nice TV. Maybe something else. He looked at Jasmine standing in the hallway. That look made my blood freeze. We don't have $4,000, I said. Then you better find it. Or your son's gonna have problems. You gonna have problems. He left. I locked the door, pulled Jasmine close, called Malik's phone over and over. He didn't answer for 3 hours. When he finally came home, I told him what happened. About Dion, about the threat, about the $4,000. Malik's face went pale, then red, then he exploded at me. Why did you let him in? Why did you talk to him? He pushed past me. I didn't let him in. Now he knows where I live. Now he's going to keep coming back. He already knew where you lived. Malik, what is this? Who is that man? What do you owe him money for? Malik grabbed my shoulders, shook me. Stop asking questions. This is none of your business. Just stay out of it. It is my business when dangerous men come to my house threatening my granddaughter. Then give me the $4,000 and I'll handle it. I don't have $4,000. You've already taken everything. Malik let me go, pushed me away so hard I stumbled. You have money. You're just too selfish to help your own son. Some mother you are. That was the first time he called me selfish. For not having money to pay his drug debts. For not having more for him to steal. Dion came back 2 days later, took the TV, walked out with it like he had every right. I didn't try to stop him. I was afraid. Malik was there that time, watched his dealer take our TV, apologized, promised money soon, begged for more time. Watching my son beg terrified me more than anything, because I realized the people Malik owed money to were more dangerous than Malik himself. October came. The stealing had accelerated. My savings was down to $11,000 from $47,000 in January. 9 months. Malik had burned through $36,000 of the money Eugene and I had saved over 51 years of marriage. I was getting sicker too. The 3 weeks without my Alzheimer's medication had done damage. My memory was noticeably worse. I'd forget whole conversations, forget what day it was, forget if I'd eaten. Jasmine was essentially taking care of herself, getting herself ready for school, making her own breakfast, putting herself to bed, 8 years old and already so strong because she had to be. I'd find her sometimes late at night standing in my doorway, just watching, making sure I was still breathing. You okay, Grandma? I'm okay, baby. Go back to bed. But I wasn't okay, and she knew it. October 18th started like any other day. I made breakfast for Jasmine, got her off to school, came home and found Malik in the kitchen going through my purse. What are you doing? Looking for your debit card. I need to get groceries. No, I'm keeping the card. You've taken enough. I'd been to the bank the day before, closed my old account, opened a new one, got a new debit card Malik didn't know about, hidden my checkbook. I was trying to protect what little was left. Malik's face changed. That look I'd come to recognize. The look that came before violence. Give me the card, Ma. No. I said, give me the fucking card. No, Malik. I'm done. You need to leave. Get out of my house. He came toward me. I backed up. Kept backing up until I hit the stairs leading to the second floor. 3 stairs. Not many, but enough. You're really going to do this? You're really going to choose money over your own son? I'm choosing my granddaughter. I'm choosing to have something left to take care of her with, because you've stolen everything else. That's when he pushed me. 2 hands on my shoulders. A hard shove. I went backward. Tried to catch myself. Couldn't. I hit the first stair with my hip, the second with my back, the third with my arm. I heard the crack before I felt the pain. My wrist, broken. I lay there at the bottom of the stairs, pain radiating up my arm, Malik standing above me looking down. For just a second, I saw something in his face. Horror, regret. The boy I'd raised breaking through the monster drugs had made him. Then it was gone. "This is your fault," he said. "If you'd just given me the card, this wouldn't have happened." He stepped over me, walked out the front door, left me lying there alone with a broken wrist and the sure knowledge that next time he might push me harder, might push me down more stairs, might not stop until I couldn't get up anymore. I managed to get to the kitchen phone, called my neighbor Gloria. She found me on the floor crying, not from pain, from the death of hope, the final understanding that my son was gone and wasn't coming back. Gloria Thompson has been my neighbor for 18 years. She's 68, retired nurse, lives 3 houses down. She's the one who found me at the bottom of the stairs with a broken wrist and tears streaming down my face. "Oh my God, Cynthia, what happened?" "I fell," I said automatically. The lie came easy, too easy. Gloria knelt beside me, looked at my wrist already swelling, looked at my face. She knew. I could see it in her eyes. She knew I hadn't fallen. Did Malik do this? I couldn't answer, couldn't make myself say the words. If I said it out loud, it became real. My son had hurt me. My baby had broken my bones. Gloria called 911, sat with me while we waited for the ambulance, held my good hand, didn't push me to talk, just stayed. The paramedics came, asked how I fell. I stuck to the story, tripped on the stairs. Just clumsy. Happens when you get old. They exchanged a look. They knew, too. But they couldn't make me tell the truth. At the hospital, a doctor set my wrist. Put a cast on it, bright blue, like a child's cast. Asked me questions about how the fall happened. Questions designed to catch inconsistencies. Questions I'd learned to answer from 9 months of lying. The social worker came next. Young woman, kind eyes, asked if I felt safe at home. "Yes," I said. "I'm fine. Just an accident." "Mrs. Hawthorne, do you live alone?" "No, my son and granddaughter live with me." "Has your son ever hurt you?" "No, never. He's a good boy, takes care of me." The lies tasted like poison, but I couldn't tell the truth, because if I told the truth, they'd investigate. They'd talk to Malik. He'd tell them about my Alzheimer's. He'd say I was unfit to care for Jasmine, and they'd take her away. So I lied. Protected my abuser to protect my granddaughter. The math of impossible choices. They sent me home with pain medication and instructions to follow up with my regular doctor. Gloria drove me, helped me into the house, made me tea. "Cynthia, you can't keep doing this. He's going to seriously hurt you." "I know." "Then why won't you call the police?" "Because he'll take Jasmine from me. He's already threatened it. If I try to kick him out, he'll say I'm incompetent because of my Alzheimer's. He'll call social services. And they'll believe him because I can't remember things. I can't prove I'm fit to take care of her." Gloria's face softened. "Oh, honey, you are fit. Anyone can see how much you love that child. Love isn't enough. The system looks at medical diagnoses, and I have Alzheimer's. That's documented. If Malik claims I'm a danger to Jasmine, they'll investigate, and I'll lose her. So you're going to let him keep hurting you? I don't know what else to do." Gloria stayed until Jasmine got home from school. Jasmine took one look at my cast and started crying. "What happened, Grandma?" "I fell down the stairs, baby, but I'm okay. Just a broken wrist. It'll heal." "Where's Daddy?" "I don't know." Jasmine's face was old, too old for 8. She knew what had really happened, just like Gloria knew, just like the paramedics knew. Everyone knew except the people who could actually help me. That night, Malik didn't come home. Or the next night. 3 days passed. I started to hope maybe he'd left for good. Maybe the violence had scared him. Maybe he'd realized he'd gone too far. Then he showed up on day 4. Walked in like nothing had happened. Saw my cast. "What happened to your arm?" "You pushed me down the stairs. You broke my wrist." He looked genuinely confused, like he didn't remember, like the moment that had changed everything for me was just another blur in his drug-addled brain. "I didn't push you. You fell. You're always falling because of your Alzheimer's." The gaslighting even after visible proof, even with a cast on my arm. "Get out, Malik. Please. Just leave. This is my home too. I'm not going anywhere." He went upstairs to his room, stayed there for hours, came down at midnight looking for food, acted like we were a normal family, like he hadn't broken his mother's bones 4 days ago. I lay awake that night planning. For the first time since January, I wasn't paralyzed by fear and confusion. I was angry. The pain in my wrist kept me focused, kept me clear. I needed help, but I couldn't call the police because of Jasmine. I couldn't tell my doctor because they'd report it. I couldn't tell anyone official because it would trigger investigations I couldn't survive. But I could document. I could keep evidence. When Rowan, Eugene's mother, was alive, she used to say, "Write it down, Cynthia. Memory fades, but paper remembers." I started a new notebook. This time I hid it better, taped it under my mattress. Every day I wrote down what Malik did, what he took, what he said, times and dates. October 18. Malik pushed me downstairs. Broke wrist. Hospital. Lied to protect Jasmine. October 22. Malik returned. No apology. Acts like nothing happened. October 24. Found $200 missing from hiding spot in freezer. Malik must have found it. October 26. Malik brought Dion to house again. Dion demanded $2,000. Said he'd handle the debt another way if Malik doesn't pay. The notebook became my sanity. Proof I wasn't imagining things. Proof my Alzheimer's wasn't making me paranoid. Proof my son was destroying me. But November brought something worse than theft or gaslighting or even broken bones. November brought the 3 days I thought I might die. It started with me telling Gloria the truth. Not all of it. Just enough. That Malik was stealing. That he'd hurt me. That I was scared. Gloria said she'd help me find resources, elder abuse hotlines, legal aid attorneys, ways to get Malik out without losing Jasmine. Malik overheard us talking through the window, heard me say the words elder abuse. That night, after Jasmine went to bed, he came to my room. His eyes were wild. He'd been using. I could tell by the way he moved. Jerky. Too fast. "You told the neighbor about me? You're trying to get me arrested?" "I'm trying to protect myself." "You want to protect yourself? Fine. Let's see how you do protecting yourself." He grabbed my arm, the one with the cast, squeezed until I cried out, dragged me to my bedroom, pushed me inside. Then he locked the door from the outside. A lock Eugene had installed years ago when we'd worried about burglars, a lock on the outside of the bedroom door. "You want to be safe from me? You can stay in there until you learn to keep your mouth shut." "Malik, let me out." "No. You stay in there and think about what happens to people who betray family." I heard his footsteps going down the stairs, heard the front door open and close, then silence. I was locked in my bedroom, 70 years old, Alzheimer's, broken wrist, and trapped by my own son. 3 days. Malik kept me locked in that bedroom for 3 days, November 8th through November 10th, 2024, 72 hours that nearly killed me. The first day wasn't so bad. I had my bathroom attached to the bedroom, water from the sink. I could survive on water. I banged on the door, screamed. No one heard. The house was empty. Malik had left. I didn't know where. I tried the window, 2nd floor, too high to jump, too high to climb down even if my wrist wasn't broken. I thought about breaking the window, screaming for help. But the neighbors on this side were at work during the day. No one would hear. Night came. I heard the front door open. Footsteps. Then Jasmine's voice, small and scared. "Grandma? Where are you? I'm in my room, baby. I'm okay. I heard her try the door handle. Heard Malik's voice, harsh. Leave it. Grandma's not feeling well. She needs to rest. But the door's locked from the outside. Why is it locked? Because I said so. Go to bed, Jasmine. I pressed my ear to the door. Heard Jasmine crying. Heard her footsteps going to her room. My heart was breaking. She was 8 years old, and her father was teaching her that locking up grandmothers was normal. That this was just how families worked. The second day was harder. No food, just water. My stomach cramped, my head hurt. The pain medication for my wrist had run out, and the pain was constant. I lay on my bed trying to conserve energy. Around noon, I heard a sound at the door, scratching, then Jasmine's whispered voice. Grandma, I'm sliding crackers under the door. I looked. 4 saltine crackers pushed under the gap. My 8-year-old granddaughter feeding me like I was a prisoner. Which I was. Thank you, baby. Are you okay? I'm scared. Why won't Daddy let you out? He's just upset with me. It'll be okay. But Jasmine, listen to me carefully. When you go to school tomorrow, I need you to tell your teacher what's happening. Can you do that? Silence. Then Daddy said if I tell anyone, they'll take me away from you forever. Baby, that's not true. The teacher will help us. She'll make sure we're both safe. I don't want to leave you, Grandma. You won't, I promise. Just tell Mrs. Patterson what's happening. Tell her Daddy locked Grandma in her room. Tell her I need help. More silence. Then. Okay. I'll tell her. Good girl. I love you so much. I love you too, Grandma. Her footsteps faded. I ate the crackers slowly. 4 crackers in 48 hours. I was dizzy, weak. My Alzheimer's was worse without food and medication. I kept forgetting where I was, why I was locked in. I'd panic, thinking I was trapped somewhere unfamiliar. Then I'd remember. My son, my own son did this. The 3rd day was when I started to wonder if I'd die in this room. If Malik would just leave me here until my body gave out. 70 years old. Alzheimer's. Broken wrist. No food. How long could I survive? I heard the front door again. Morning. Jasmine going to school. She didn't stop by my door this time. Good. That meant she was going to tell her teacher. That meant help was coming. It had to be coming. Hours passed. I drifted in and out of consciousness. Dreamed about Eugene. He was sitting in his chair by the window, smiling at me. You gotta fight, Cynthia. Don't give up now. I'm tired, Eugen. I'm so tired. I know, baby. But Jasmine needs you. Fight for her. I woke up to the sound of the lock turning. The door opened. Malik stood there. He looked terrible. Hadn't slept. Eyes wild. Tweaking hard. You ready to behave? I could barely sit up. Barely speak. Yes. You going to tell people about our family business? No. Good. Because if you do, I'll take Jasmine and you'll never see her again. Understand? I understand. He walked away. Left the door open. I tried to stand. Couldn't. My legs wouldn't work. I crawled to the bathroom. Drank water from the sink. Crawled back to bed. Sometime later, Jasmine came home from school, ran to my room, started crying when she saw me. Grandma, what's wrong? Why can't you get up? I'm just weak, baby. I need to rest. Did you tell your teacher? Her face crumpled. I tried. I told Mrs. Patterson that Daddy locked you up. But then Daddy picked me up early from school. He talked to Mrs. Patterson, told her you have Alzheimer's, that you get confused and lock yourself in rooms by accident, that he has to unlock doors for you all the time. What did Mrs. Patterson say? She believed him. She said she was sorry for the misunderstanding. She said Alzheimer's is hard on families. That's when I knew. Malik had won. He'd used my disease to explain away my imprisonment. made me the problem, made himself the suffering caregiver. And a teacher, a mandatory reporter, had believed him. If I couldn't get help through Jasmine's school, how could I get help at all? That night I barely slept, kept seeing the lock on the outside of my door, kept thinking about those 3 days, kept understanding that Malik could do it again, could lock me up and leave me to die, and no one would help because they all believed I was just a confused old woman with Alzheimer's. November 11th, the day after he let me out, I was still too weak to leave my room. Malik came to check on me, brought me toast, acted concerned. "You need to eat, Ma. Keep your strength up." He was playing caregiver now. The devoted son worried about his sick mother. The performance would have been convincing if I couldn't see the truth behind his eyes. He was calculating, figuring out how much more he could take before I died, whether it was worth keeping me alive or if my death might be more convenient. I ate the toast, took the water he brought, played along, because I understood now that survival meant making Malik think he'd broken me, making him think I'd given up. But I hadn't given up. I was planning. And Gloria Thompson, my neighbor, the only person who truly understood what was happening, was planning too. Because on November 12th, while Malik was out somewhere getting high, Gloria came to check on me, saw how weak I was, saw the terror in my eyes, and she made a decision. She took photos. Photos of my condition. Photos of the lock on the outside of my door. Photos of the empty refrigerator. Photos of my broken wrist that Malik had squeezed during the argument. "Cynthia, I'm calling Adult Protective Services. Today. Right now. I don't care what Malik threatens. This ends today." "But Jasmine," I whispered. "They'll take Jasmine. Better she's in foster care for a few months than watching her grandmother die. Better she's safe than trapped in this house of horrors." Gloria was right. But it took me 3 days locked in a bedroom to see it. Sometimes love means letting go. Sometimes protecting someone means losing them temporarily to save them permanently. She called, made the report, gave them everything. The photos, the timeline, the stealing, the abuse, the 3 days I'd been locked up. Adult Protective Services said they'd send someone within 48 hours. But Malik came back before that. And he was angrier than I'd ever seen him. December 12th, 2024. 4 weeks after Gloria called Adult Protective Services. 4 weeks of Malik getting worse. 4 weeks of me trying to survive until help came. Adult Protective Services had visited once. A young caseworker named Linda Martinez. She'd talked to me alone. Asked about the abuse. I'd told her everything. Shown her my broken wrist. Told her about being locked in my room, about the stealing, about the drugs. She documented it all. Said she was opening an investigation. Said she'd be back with police if necessary. Said I needed to stay safe. But Malik had been there when she left. Had heard her tell me to call 911 if I felt in danger. Had seen her give me her card with her direct number. After Linda left, Malik took the card, ripped it up, got in my face. "You just signed your death warrant, old woman. You think they're going to save you? They move slow. I move fast." For 4 weeks, I waited, jumped every time I heard a car outside, hoped it was police, hoped it was Linda coming back, but no one came. Malik got more violent, more erratic. The meth had taken over completely. He'd be up for 3 days straight, paranoid, aggressive, seeing things that weren't there. December 10th, he accused me of hiding money, tore apart my bedroom looking for cash, found nothing because there was nothing left to find. He'd already taken it all. 2 days later, December 12th, I made a mistake, a simple mistake that nearly cost me my life. I'd hidden my phone, the one with emergency numbers programmed in. Gloria's number, Linda Martinez's office number, 911. Malik found it. "What's this?" He held it up. "You got a secret phone, Ma?" Who you calling on your secret phone? No one. It's just a backup. Liar. You're calling people, telling lies about me, making me look bad. He smashed the phone against the wall. It shattered. Then he grabbed my shoulders. Shook me so hard my teeth rattled. I'm done playing games with you. You want me out? Fine. But I'm taking everything with me. Starting with whatever's left in your account. There's nothing left. You took it all. Then I'll take the house. Sign it over to me. Right now. He dragged me to the kitchen table, had papers already prepared. A quitclaim deed, transferring my house to him. Sign it. No. That's when he hit me, closed fist, in the face. My head snapped back, blood from my nose, pain exploding across my cheek. I said, sign it. Through the blood and pain, I saw Jasmine standing in the doorway. She'd come home from school, had walked into this, was watching her father beat her grandmother. Daddy, stop. Please stop. Malik turned on her. Get out of here. This doesn't concern you. You're hurting Grandma. I said, get out. He started toward Jasmine. That's when something in me broke, not in submission, in fury. My daughter-in-law, my baby, my Jasmine. I grabbed the kitchen phone. The landline Eugene had insisted we keep. Dialed 911. Malik heard the ring. Came at me. Tried to grab the phone. We struggled. 911, what's your emergency? Help. My son is attacking me. 4247 South Vincennes. Please help. Malik ripped the phone from my hand. Threw it. But it was too late. They'd heard. They'd heard my address. They were coming. You stupid bitch. You just ruined everything. He ran. Out the back door, disappeared into the alley. Left me bleeding on my kitchen floor with Jasmine crying beside me. The police arrived 4 minutes later. Found me conscious but battered. Blood everywhere. Broken nose, possible concussion. Bruises on top of bruises. The evidence of 10 months of abuse written on my body. Ma'am, who did this to you? My son, Malik Hawthorne. He ran out the back. Is he still in the area? I don't know, but he has a drug problem. Crystal meth. He might be dangerous. They called for an ambulance. Called for backup. Started searching for Malik. One officer stayed with me and Jasmine. Young black officer. Kind eyes. Mrs. Hawthorne, we're going to get you help, and we're going to find your son. Please don't hurt him. Despite everything, despite the blood and the pain and the broken bones, he's still my baby. The officer's face softened. Ma'am, you're a better person than most, but your son needs to answer for what he's done. The ambulance came. Paramedics who'd seen me before. October, when Malik broke my wrist. Recognition in their eyes. This time they knew it wasn't a fall. At the hospital they documented everything. Every bruise, every cut, every sign of long-term abuse. A doctor estimated I'd been assaulted multiple times over several months, based on the healing patterns of my injuries. Linda Martinez from Adult Protective Services showed up at the hospital. She'd heard about the 911 call, saw me in the emergency room bed, started crying. Mrs. Hawthorne, I'm so sorry. I should have moved faster. I should have gotten you out sooner. You tried. The system moves slow, like you said, and my son moves fast. Detective Rodriguez from Chicago PD came next, specialized in elder abuse cases, sat beside my bed with a notebook. Mrs. Hawthorne, I need you to tell me everything, from the beginning. And this time, don't protect him. Tell me the truth. So I did. All of it. January through December. The stealing, the gaslighting, the physical abuse, the drugs, the dealers, being locked in my room for 3 days. Everything. Detective Rodriguez wrote it all down. When I finished, he looked at me with something like awe. Ma'am, you survived something most people wouldn't. Your son should be in prison for what he did to you. Will you find him? We already did. He was arrested an hour ago at a known drug house on the west side. He's being charged with elder abuse, battery, theft, and a few other charges. He's not getting out this time. And Jasmine? What happens to Jasmine? That's DCFS territory. But given what she witnessed, they'll need to place her temporarily while this gets sorted out. My heart broke, but I knew it was necessary. Jasmine couldn't stay with me while I recovered, couldn't stay in a house full of violence and trauma. She needed safety, even if that safety meant being apart from me. I spent 8 days in the hospital. Broken nose, concussion, severe bruising, malnutrition, dehydration. The doctors said if Malik had waited another week to escalate the violence this badly, I might not have survived. My Alzheimer's was worse too. The stress, the trauma, the weeks of missed medications, all of it had accelerated the disease. Dr. Chen came to see me in the hospital, ran cognitive tests. Her face told me everything I needed to know. Mrs. Hawthorne, your decline has been significant. The abuse, the stress, it's damaged your brain function beyond what the disease alone would have caused. Can I still live independently? She hesitated. That's what we need to evaluate. Right now, no. You need supervised care while you recover physically. Long term, we'll see. What about Jasmine? Can I still take care of her? That's not my decision, but Cynthia, honestly, right now you can barely take care of yourself. The truth hurt worse than my broken nose. DCFS came on day 3. A caseworker named Angela Ross. She was kind but firm. Jasmine is in emergency foster care. A good family. She's safe. She asks about you constantly. Can I see her? Not yet. She witnessed severe domestic violence. She needs therapy before we can arrange visits. And Mrs. Hawthorne, we need to assess your living situation before considering reunification. I understand. There's something else. Your son Malik is requesting to speak with you from jail. You don't have to agree to it. What does he want? To apologize, apparently, but I'd advise against contact during the criminal investigation. I want to hear what he has to say. Angela looked doubtful but didn't argue. She arranged a phone call for the next day. Malik's voice on the phone was different, smaller, broken. He was in jail detoxing from meth, going through withdrawal. The monster was gone. My son's voice was back. Ma? You there? I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't even remember half of what I did. They showed me photos of you, of your injuries. Ma, did I really do that? Yes. Oh God, Ma. I'm a monster. I'm exactly what Dad was afraid I'd become. He started crying, real sobs, not manipulation, genuine horror at what he'd done. Ma, I'm sick. I'm an addict. I've been using for 5 years and it destroyed me, destroyed us. I stole from you. I hurt you. I locked you in a room. I brought dealers to your house. I scared Jasmine. I ruined everything. Yes, you did. Can you ever forgive me? I don't know, Malik. Right now I'm just trying to survive what you did to me. I'm going to prison, Detective Rodriguez told me. 5 to 7 years probably. Maybe more. Good. You need to be somewhere you can't hurt anyone, including yourself. Ma, please. I know I don't deserve it, but please don't give up on me. I'm going to get clean in prison. I'm going to get help. I'm going to become the son you raised, the man Dad wanted me to be. I hope you do, baby. I really do. But Malik, when you get out, you can't come back to my house. Ever. What you did, I can't forget. My Alzheimer's makes me forget a lot of things. But your hands on me? That I'll remember. I understand. And Jasmine, you stay away from her. She's been through enough. Will I ever see her again? That's up to her, when she's old enough to decide. But for now, no. You don't get to be her father anymore. You lost that right. The line was quiet except for his crying. Then, I love you, Ma. I never stopped loving you, even when I was hurting you. Love isn't enough, Malik. Your father taught you that. Love without respect is just pretty words. You have to earn your way back. And that's going to take years, if it's even possible. I hung up, cried for an hour. Not for the son in jail, but for the boy I'd raised. The boy who disappeared into drugs and violence. The boy who might never come back. February 2025. 2 months after Malik's arrest, the trial was quick. He pleaded guilty to all charges: elder abuse, felony battery, theft. The evidence was overwhelming. My injuries, the hospital records, the bank statements showing $27,930 stolen, Gloria's testimony, the lock on the outside of my bedroom door. The judge sentenced him to 5 years in prison, with possibility of parole after 3 if he completed addiction treatment programs. Malik stood in the courtroom in his orange jumpsuit, looked back at me sitting in the gallery, mouthed, "I'm sorry," one more time. I nodded, accepted his apology for whatever it was worth. But forgiveness? That was a long way off. Detective Rodriguez approached me after the sentencing. "Mrs. Hawthorne, what he did to you, most people don't survive that. You're stronger than you know." I don't feel strong. I feel broken. Broken things can heal. Not back to what they were, but into something new. Something that survived. I was released from the hospital in late December but couldn't go home. The house was a crime scene. Evidence of violence everywhere, and even if it wasn't, I couldn't live alone anymore. My Alzheimer's had progressed. I needed help. Gloria Thompson, bless her heart, took me in temporarily. Her spare bedroom became mine. She helped me with medications, with meals, with remembering what day it was, but it couldn't be permanent. Gloria was 68 with her own health issues. I needed professional care. In January 2025, I moved into Evergreen Memory Care, assisted living facility for people with Alzheimer's and dementia. Private room, 24-hour nursing staff. Activities designed for people like me who were slowly losing themselves. It wasn't home, would never be home, but it was safe. And after 10 months of violence, safety felt like luxury. My house in Auburn Gresham was sold in March. The house Eugene and I bought in 1987, the house we paid off in 2009, the house where we raised Malik, where Jasmine had lived for 4 years. Sold to pay for my care at Evergreen, $295,000. After realtor fees and closing costs, $278,000. At $6,000 a month for memory care, that money would last about 4 years, maybe 5 if I was careful. Everything Eugene built, gone, destroyed by the son we'd raised together. June 2025. 6 months after Malik broke my nose and the police took him away. I'm sitting in the common room at Evergreen Memory Care watching birds outside the window. I don't always remember what day it is anymore. Don't always remember where I am. But I remember the important things. I remember Eugene. I remember teaching 2nd grade for 33 years. And I remember my son hurting me. The Alzheimer's is progressing. Some days I'm clear, some days I'm lost. Today is a clear day. Those are getting rarer. Jasmine visits me every Saturday. She's 9 now, living with a foster family named the Johnsons. Good people, kind people. They bring her to see me, stay while we visit, make sure I'm okay. Hi, Grandma. Jasmine hugs me carefully, like I'm fragile, which I am. Hi, baby. How was school this week? She tells me about 3rd grade, about her teacher Mrs. Williams, about her best friend Destiny, normal things, child things. Things that have nothing to do with violence or drugs or watching her father beat her grandmother. The Johnsons are trying to adopt her. DCFS says it's best. I can't take care of her anymore. My memory is too unreliable. Some days I don't recognize her face. Some days I call her by her father's name. The disease is stealing me piece by piece. I'm glad she'll have a family. A real family. People who won't hurt her. Who won't lock grandmothers in bedrooms. Who won't bring drug dealers into the house. But God, it hurts. Losing her. Losing everything. Malik writes letters from prison. The staff reads them to me. He's been clean for 6 months. Completed anger management. Started addiction counseling. Says he's finding God. Says he's becoming the man his father wanted him to be. I don't write back. Can't. My hands shake too much. My mind wanders. But also, I don't know what to say to him. The boy I raised is gone. This man in prison writing letters, I don't know him. Maybe someday. Maybe when he gets out in 3 years. Maybe there will be something to rebuild. But I'll be further gone by then. The Alzheimer's doesn't stop. In 3 years, I might not remember I have a son. Gloria visits twice a week. Brings me cookies from the bakery Eugene used to love. Sits with me. Doesn't mind when I repeat the same story 3 times. Doesn't mind when I forget her name. You saved my life, I tell her. Every time she visits. You called Adult Protective Services. You took those photos. You believed me when no one else did. You saved yourself, Cynthia. You survived. Dr. Chen came last month, ran tests, told the staff my decline is accelerating. I have maybe 2 years before I won't recognize anyone, won't remember my own name, won't remember Eugene or teaching or Jasmine or any of it. 2 years to fade away completely. The disease Malik's abuse accelerated, taking the rest of me. I think about Eugene a lot. Wonder what he'd say about all this. About Malik in prison. About Jasmine in foster care. About me in this facility slowly disappearing. I think he'd be proud I fought back, that I called 911, that I chose survival over silence. But I think he'd be heartbroken about Malik, about what our son became, about the monster drugs made him. We tried so hard to raise him right, to give him values and love and stability, and somehow it wasn't enough. Or maybe it was enough, and Malik made his own choices. Maybe we can't save our children from themselves. I don't have answers anymore, just memories that slip away a little more each day. This morning, I couldn't remember what I taught for 33 years. Knew I was a teacher, couldn't remember the subject. Gloria reminded me. 2nd grade. I taught 2nd grade. Hundreds of children over 3 decades learned to read because of me. That matters. Whatever else I lost, that matters. Jasmine is leaving now. The Johnsons are taking her to the zoo. She kisses my cheek. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, baby. Be safe. Always, Grandma. You taught me to be safe. After they leave, I sit in the common room. Other residents around me at various stages of forgetting. Some don't speak anymore. Some call out for family members who've been dead for years. This is my future. This is where Malik's abuse and my disease have brought me. But I'm alive. That's something. Against everything, I survived. And Jasmine is safe, growing up without violence, learning that love shouldn't hurt. That's something too. I close my eyes. Picture Eugene in his chair by the window, smiling at me. You did good, Cynthia. Our girl is safe. You did real good. The memory fades, but I hold on to it as long as I can. Hold on to Eugene. Hold on to the woman I was before Alzheimer's, before Malik's violence, before everything fell apart. Some days that's all we can do. Hold on to the pieces that matter until even those slip away. That is Cynthia Hawthorne's story. Now, I want to hear from you. Where are you watching this from? What city? What country? Drop it in the comments below. I love seeing our global community come together over these difficult stories about elder abuse, addiction destroying families, and the impossible choice between protecting yourself and protecting the people you love. Real question, if you were Cynthia, what would you have done? Would you have called the police sooner, even if it meant losing Jasmine? Would you have let Malik stay, hoping he'd get better? Or would you have done exactly what Cynthia did? Tell me in the comments. Hit that like button if this story made you feel something. Share it if you know someone dealing with an addicted family member, someone whose loved one's addiction has turned them violent, someone caring for an elderly parent who might be vulnerable to exploitation. And subscribe for more raw, real stories about elder abuse, drug addiction's impact on families, Alzheimer's vulnerability, and what happens when the person who should protect you becomes the person you need protection from. Thanks for watching. Sometimes the child you raised with love becomes someone you don't recognize. Sometimes addiction turns family members into predators. Sometimes survival means losing everyone you love to save yourself. And sometimes there are no happy endings, just survival. See you in the next video.